Hello everyone, this is Mr. Amin speaking, and today we will be talking about probability. Describing events. We have two words that we need to learn, which are experiment and probability. The word experiment is an activity involving chance in which results are observed. Each observation of an experiment is called a trial, and each result is called an outcome. A set of one or more outcomes is an event. The probability of an event measures the likelihood that the event will occur, which means how strong is it possible of the event to happen. Probability is a measure between 0 and 1. It can be written as a fraction, decimal, or as a percent. Probability likelihood. As you can see here, it can be impossible, an impossible probability, or an unlikely probability, or as likely as not, or likely, or certain. Impossible, which means that it can never happen, and we can write it in the form of a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. A fraction, it would be a 0, a decimal, it would be a 0, and a percent, it would be as well a 0%. Unlikely is more than a 0, but less than half. As likely as not, if we are going to write it as a fraction, it would be 1/2. As a decimal, it would be 0.5. And as a percent, it would be 50%. Likely is more than half, but less than 1. And certain, if we are going to write it as a fraction, it would be 1. As a decimal, it would be 1.0. And as a percent, it would be 100%. As you can see here, this is a number line where you can imagine it. The impossible is the 0. The certain is the 100. As likely as not is the 50% or a half. Between the as likely as not and the impossible, we have unlikely, which is rarely to happen. And between the half, which between the as likely as not and the certain, we have the word likely, which is most probably it would happen, but not certain. Example 1. Tell whether each event is impossible, unlikely, and probability is 0, close to 0, half, close to 1, or 1. Six-sided number cube, and the number is 1 or greater. In this example, we have a dice that we roll. And as you know, the sides of the dice are 6 sides or 6 faces, which means that they're numbered from 1 through 6. When you roll a 6-sided numbered cube, the number is 1 or greater. This means that when we roll the dice, would we have a number 1 or more? Yes, of course we would. So the event is certain to happen, so its probability is 1. You roll 2 number cubes and the sum of the numbers is 3. This event is unlikely to happen and its probability is close to 0. Why? If we roll 2 dices, the sum of the numbers might be 3, but this is a very small chance. So which means that this is unlikely to happen and the probability is close to 0. The third example, Hannah will have superpowers. This event is impossible to happen, which means that the probability would be 0. In your turn, a hat contains pieces of paper marked 1 with numbers 1 through 16. Tell whether picking an even number is impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, or certain. Tell whether the probability is 0, close to 0, half, close to 1, or 1. So if I'm going to tell, is it likely or not? Then we need to check how many even numbers do we have from 1 through 16. We have the number 2, the number 4, the number 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. These numbers are half the amount of the total numbers, which means that we have the probability would be as likely as not, or 1 over 2. Probability of an event. We have a rule to use to find the probability of an event, which is the number of times the event occurs over the total number of equally likely possible outcomes. In example 2, what is the probability of rolling an even number on a standard number cube? Step 1, find the sample space for a standard number cube, which means that we need to find out how many answers or how many results can come out from rolling a number cube. So the numbers or the outcomes that we can find are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Step number 2, find the number of ways to roll an even number. The even numbers are 2, 4, and 6. So the step number 3, to find the probability of rolling an even number, we are going to divide it, the number of ways to roll an even number over the number of faces per cube. So here we have 3 even numbers, which are 2, 4, and 6, and we will divide it by 6, which is the amount of faces on a number cube, which would give us 1 over 2. Your turn. Find each probability, write your answer in simplest form. Picking a purple marble from a jar with 10 green and 10 purple marbles. So here we have 10 green marbles and 10 purple marbles. Their total is 20. 10 green divided by the total, which is divided by 20, would be 1 over 2. Rolling a number greater than 4 on a standard number cube. The numbers that are greater than 4 on a number cube are 5 and 6. So here we have 2 outcomes out of the total, which is 6. So 2 over 6 equals 1 over 3. So this is our probability. Our probability is 1 over 3. The complement. The complement of an event is all the outcomes in the sample space that are not included in the event. For example, in the event of rolling a 3 on a number other than 3, which means that the complement is rolling a 1, a 2, 4, 5, or 6. So when I tell you find the complement of an event, it means that we want to find all the outcomes that are not the answer, that are not this event. So if I tell you find the complement of rolling a 1 on a number cube, this means that we want to tell what are the rest of the outcomes and what are the rest of the possibilities that can come from rolling a dice or from rolling a number cube other than 1, which are 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. An event and its complement. If we have an event and its complement, they would give us 1, which means if I said that rolling a 3 is on a number cube is 1 over 6, so its complement is 5 over 6. If we add them together, they would be 1. Example 3. There are 2 red jacks in a standard deck of 52 cards. A standard deck of 52 cards اللي هي الكوتشينة. 2 red jacks اللي هما ولدين بس لونهم أحمر. What is the probability of not getting a red jack if you select 1 card at random? So as you can see here, the probability of the event plus the probability of the complement equals 1. So the probability of finding red jacks plus the probability of finding the card that is not a red jack equals 1. 2 over 52 is the probability of finding red jacks, plus the probability of finding the card that is not a red jack equals 1. So as you can see here, the probability of red jacks is 2 out of 52. And the total amount of cards that we have is 52 out of 52. This is the total amount of outcomes. So the cards that are not red jacks are 50 out of 52. Your turn. A jar that contains 8 marbles with numbers 1 through 8. You pick a marble at random. What is the probability of not picking a marble marked with the number 5? So here we have 8 marbles. These marbles are numbered 1 through 8. And we want to find how many marbles that are not numbered with or not marked with the number 5. So we have 7 marbles out of 8. This is the complement of the event. You roll a standard number cube. Use the probability of rolling an even number to find the probability of rolling an odd number. On a number cube, we are gonna find first the even numbers. How many even outcome can we find on number cube? So here we have 3 out of 6. طب how many from finding 3 out of 6 دول? How many odd numbers can we find? We can find as well 3 out of 6 odd numbers, which would give us 1/2. Thank you for watching and wishing you all the best. I hope that you have understood the lesson, and we're going to discuss it later together, inshallah.